Really, when I used to teach face-to-face on Saturday, I'd taught 3.5 hours in the morning, 4.5 hours in the afternoon. Classes were Friday night and Saturday, 1 credit. But we're online now, and I can hold their attention for 10 minutes maybe. We'll see. Hi, Dr. DJ here, Anthony Dallmann-Jones. I get credited often for being so passionate about working with kids who are at risk. Well, working with teachers who are working with kids at risk. And I always think, why aren't you? Shouldn't you be? But you know the reason we're not is because people forget what it was like to be in the 6th grade or the 7th or the 8th. Do you have the courage to sit for a few seconds and remember what it felt like every day? You need to do that. Recapture those memories, and they will fuel your passion and your compassion. Okay. Look, any kid can be at risk. Any kid, okay? I mean, suicides come out of nowhere. Oh, he was fine, he was happy, he was this and he was that, and he killed himself. So obviously that kid was at risk and nobody knew it. Or maybe just something happened that day and he snapped. He had a bunch of repressed stuff. I mean, who knows? Or they don't realize the kid's got a drinking problem. He hides it very well. Nobody knows. And then one day it surfaces in a fatal car wreck. He was at risk, but nobody knew it. So we need to be prepared for those kids too. But the ones that I am aiming at the most, targeting the most, are the kids who come out of homes, whether foster homes, both biological parents, one parent, living with grandma, that are abusive and neglectful. Now that sounds like a criminal attack on the family. It's not. And you have read by now the difference between a functional and a dysfunctional family. Just look at that again and look at the characteristics of a functional family and a dysfunctional family. And I'm sure some of those things apply on both sides to your family. Well, just imagine how many to a kid that winds up at risk are on the negative side, the dysfunctional side. And they don't live with this like, oh, an episode on Saturday. It's every day and every night. You don't know what happens in that home when the shades go down. You don't know. I'm not saying there's necessarily some kind of physical mauling or predatory kinds of things going on. It just could be neglect. It could be verbal abuse. It could be being ignored. It could be whatever, but it goes on and on and on and on and on and on, year after year. Okay. These are the kids that I'm focused on the most because we forget, again, going back to your memories, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, the social pressure in high school. The social pressure was intense. Intense. Do you remember what it's like to be on the outside? Yeah, nobody wants to hang out with you, or suddenly you're being excluded by all your girlfriends. I'm talking about if I was a girl and I had all these girlfriends and they just turned catty on me and bullied me and made fun of me and in front of other people. And people commit suicide over this. That's how intense it is. And we adults, we sit here and go, oh, come on, that's not going to mean anything a few years from now. It's just kids being kids. Don't take it so seriously. You know how far that goes? About it for in terms of changing the way they feel. It's intense, the social pressure. And that can affect any kid, but especially vulnerable are the kids who are coming out of those families. Now, if you were raised in an abusive and neglectful family, you develop defense mechanisms because you were not born with those. You were born to accept love, protection, affection, attention. You're ready for that. Biologically, you're not ready for abuse, neglect. You have no strategies for that. You have to make them up. So, you got kids making up defense strategies. Even adults have a hard time. Like somebody's harsh with you at work, and you're going to come up with a way to not feel the pain so much. What do you do? What defense strategy do you come up with? Think about it. Do you drink? Do you smoke a joint? Do you cry? Do you say to yourself, oh, just forget it? Who are they? And mentally try to flip it in your head. Does it work? So now we've got kids trying to come up with defense mechanisms. They're going to be sloppy. They're going to be very apparent. And that means they're addressable, diagnosable, and addressable by you. Okay. That's the good part. Okay. You've got to remember this is their world. It's not half a world. It's not a child's world. It's their world. It's everything to them. Okay. So what do both of these groups of kids need? Okay. The ones who we don't know are at risk, and the ones who we know are potentially at risk. Okay. They need a counterbalancing force. Now, I use the term angel warrior educators, and I've said we're at war to save our kids, and I've had a couple of students go, I don't like the word war. I don't like that. And I agree with them. I don't like that. I don't like the word either. I don't like rotten potatoes, but if you ever smelled one, I don't like labels. I don't like at-risk kids labels. We just need them, unfortunately. I don't like a hangnail or a cavity either, but we get them, and then we have to handle them. So you have to be a counterbalancing force. And I went on about that because people think it means something violent. It doesn't. Here's what it means. It means they need a port in the storm. They need one authority figure. Guess who that is? One authority figure who is, here's the following characteristics. They need to be confident, strongly confident. They need to be reassuring. We're going to work through this. You'll get through this. I'll be here with you. They need determination in this hero of theirs. We are determined to get to the bottom of this problem, Jeffrey. We will. Together. They need a reliable champion. Somebody they can count on, who's not one day this way and one day that way, but they're always there, solid as a rock, which of course helps with the confidence factor. And I think the bottom line is they need that port in the storm. They need that one person who cares, who has compassion, who helps, who solves problems. So you put those all together. Can you be that person? Reliable, confident, reassuring, determined, caring? Of course. Of course. You've done all those things. You just need to group them together and bring it. That's the force I'm talking about. You've got to bring that force. And you saw the end of the hallway video where I talk about, we don't need anybody but ourselves in terms of bolstering, our energy levels to stay at the top of our game. We don't rely on what other teachers are saying or what kind of recommendation we did or didn't get, or promotion we did or didn't get, or what pay raise we didn't get or get. It's up to us to know inside we're doing the right thing. So why are you put through this course with all this negative stuff about abuse and neglect, so that you are confident in what you're doing? You will know more than anyone in the building, unless they've been through this course, this master's degree set of courses. You will know more than anyone in the building. That includes a nurse, any doctors, social workers, psychologists, school psychologists, counselors. You will know more. That will give you confidence. But that's why we have to go through it. Some of these negative things. And you haven't gotten to the worst part yet in terms of negativity. All right. So we have to stop reacting and start thinking. What are you thinking? Okay. So a kid does something, we don't just snap out and react, because that's just reacting to a symptom. It's like you come into a doctor with a rash and he grabs some sandpaper and starts working on you. Okay. That's reactionary, primitive behavior. You need to think. Think about what? Think about this. What is really, emphasize, underline, turn in red, really, what is really going on here when this kid behaves this way? Now, if it's a kid who's perennially at risk, you know darn well that these are defense mechanisms, these behaviors that are wonky or out of line or, harmful or aberrant. You know darn well that they're trying to say something. So what is really going on here? That's how you start thinking. Now, you could just think yourself into oblivion. But the reason we have these 8 characteristics of shadow children is so you have some guidelines by which to think. Now, you're going to have to read chapters 12 and 13 this week. These are the 2 most important chapters you will ever read in your educational life. Ever. Because they're going to answer the question, what is really going on here? And that's a universal question, isn't it? Almost no matter what you're doing, it's like, well, what's really going on here? Because you got to react. Every second, we ask ourselves, what am I going to do next? What am I going to do next? I mean, whether you know that or not, unconsciously, you have to do that to survive. You come up to the curb and you go, is it safe to cross the street? You don't just walk out there. And so you have to reassure yourself. So you say, what am I going to do next? Well, I'm going to look to the right. I'm going to look to the left. And some people learn to do it twice because they didn't see the motorcycle the first time. Look to the right, look to the left again. What am I going to do next? I'm going to take a step. What are you going to do next? I'm going to take another step. What are you going to do next? I'm going to look again because I'm right out getting to the middle of the street. Okay. Now I'm going to look. What am I going to do next? I'm going to get across the street. I'm going to look at the curb because I got to step up. I don't want to fall flat on my face. Oh, by the way, that little figure up there, and the little dinger, it's getting down. There's only 4 seconds left. So you're constantly asking yourself what to do next. So this is easy in terms of remembering what you're supposed to do. But 12 and 13, you need to study these, study your heart out, read them over and over and over again. Now you're going to have a great handout on these 8 characteristics, 8 defense mechanisms. And they're kind of vague at first. It's like control consciousness, like who isn't control conscious? I want to control what I wear or what I eat or how much sleep I get or I'm allowed to bother me. But this is different. And you will see that in control consciousness, there are either ors. And kids who are at risk perennially have a tendency to be at extremes. So for example, they're either like tightly controlled, perfectionistic, rigid, whatever, or they're just freaking chaotic, just impulsive, just no boundaries. It's the same coin, just 2 different sides. And so it is with the other 7. So you'll see those grouped together at the bottom of page 2 or 3 in the handout. And then I gave you some sheets there. I think I gave you 6 that you can print out. You need to copy one of them 4 more times, so you have 10. And it'll give you the categories there: control consciousness, so forth, low self-esteem, blah, blah, blah. They're all there. So you have an outline by which to think. So what you're going to do when you're clinical is you're going to select 2 kids and you're going to watch them 4 or 5 straight days, whether you have them for an hour or whether you have them all day or half a day, whatever. Okay. And that's so that you get data that makes, if you just pick one day and the kid's like zonked out or they're sporadic, but if every day, if you do 5 days, I love to have you do 50 days, but if you do 5 days, you start to get a better picture. Okay. And ask yourself as you watch them, what is really going on here? And think to those 8 categories in either end. And the control, is it chaos or is it over the top, perfectionistic control? Is it a low self-esteem issue? And write that down. And then later, after you have time to think again, start suggesting some remedies. So if you've ever had a disease or a condition and you didn't know what it was and it was serious, I've had this experience, and someone came along and diagnosed it accurately, it's a godsend. My first kidney stone, I never heard of kidney stones, never had one. I'm on the floor, I'm turning green, I'm throwing up. I feel like I'm dying, okay? My friends haul me in the emergency room. I'm like curling up in a ball. And the pain in my back was so intense, you just wanted to scream, but it wouldn't help anyway. And I look up, I hear this nice voice saying, "Hello, Mr. Jones." I look up, I go, "Hi, hi." He goes, "Have you ever had a kidney stone before?" "No." "Well, you can't say that again." And he chuckled, and I could have killed him. Then I went, "Is that what I've got?" He said, "Yes." And then he said these magic words, "And we're going to fix you right up." There was no doubt in his voice. Confident. compassionate, viable, reassuring, determined. I felt better already. I still had a dang stone. Well, he gave me a Demerol shot, and that stone was gone. We don't need to go into details. It was gone. So you could have gone to a chiropractor and they could have manipulated your back. You could have gone to somebody else. They give you a bunch of painkillers. You could have gone to somebody else. They give you a shot, pain reduction shot in your back, none of which would help the kidney stone. But this guy knew what he was talking about. How did he learn that? Well, just like you're learning these 8 characteristics, he learned about kidney stones, what they're like when they show up. And I can tell you what it's like. It's like a shark with large teeth, molten hot, large teeth, has taken a bite right out of your side. That's it. It's pretty accurate, I'll tell you. Okay. So imagine somebody saying, we're going to fix you right up. Don't you worry one bit. Now, I don't believe in false promises, and his wasn't. So you can't go promising kids, oh, we're going to solve all this, but you can say, we're going to work on this together towards a solution. You just point out it's a lot better doing that than just continuing to suffer. And we'll get somewhere on this together. And I'm going to be right here. Just like I am for you. I'm right here. And I hear from you with some of your issues, even after graduation. And we talk. And I hope I help some people feel better, do better, see the world differently. I try to do that. But think of people who have no one trying for them. They're just alone out there in their pain. Well, that's what these kids are. They're alone in their pain. They've been totally misdiagnosed. Oh, he's just a problem kid. He needs behavior modification. Oh, he's just, like one guy I taught in prison said, his whole life he had heard from like his aunt and his grandma and his parents, like, that boy is going to wind up in jail. He said, here I am. It's funny and not funny. So if somebody would have come along in this young man's life, he looked like he was about 19, but he's probably in his 20s, and said, oh, no, you're not going to jail, buddy. Not if I have anything to do about it. We're going to get you straightened out with a job, or I'm going to teach you a skill, or I'm going to put you with somebody who I really trust and learn a skill, get you a job, get you some money in a legitimate way. You'll see it's much better than doing street corner sales. Okay. If he had somebody like that in his life, I wouldn't have had him as a student in prison. He was a funny dude, I have to admit. Maybe that's all you got left when you're in prison, is your sense of humor and hopefully your sense of self to keep you sane. Some of these kids are in prisons inside their heads, so they need, what do they need? A counterbalancing force. One significant authority figure who tells them they are not insane. The world is. The things that have been done to them are abnormal. Perhaps even their own reactions are abnormal. But that doesn't make them anything to be ashamed of. All right. So see, only 24 minutes. And I could have gone on for 3.5 hours. Or one time I straight for 4.5. I could have gone on another 3 hours, man. I get so fired up on this topic because I know it's important. And I know the people I'm talking to know it's important. And we're like pros, It's like, show me this and show me that. And I went, oh, that's good. Yeah, I'm going to use that. And what did you? Oh, you did. Did that work? It did? Oh, I'm going to try that with my students or student. Or you're reading one of your journals or something, and it says an interview technique or on trauma-informed care. You're like, wow, listening. I didn't realize there were 3 levels of listening. And only one of them is effective. And you change. But only because you're an earnest counterbalancing force. I hope this sets you up for the rest of this assignment. Your clinical and your reading. But chapters 12 and 13, it's where it's at. It's based on some of the best research you'll ever see. Okay, go get them.